Welcome to Film and Page. I'm Dominic, and this is another episode of Road to Dune. And the road to Dune seems to be getting very rocky. And I'm really starting to, my hopes that we're going to get two halves of the Dune movie, I'm really starting to doubt, especially with the recent news. A couple days ago, Denis Villeneuve came out against the HBO Max deal. So, this article is from Variety. Dune director Denis Villeneuve blasts HBO Max deal exclusive by Denis Villeneuve. I learned in the news that Warner Bros. Has decided to release Dune on HBO Max at the same time as our theatrical release, using prominent images from our movie to promote their streaming service. With this decision, AT&T has hijacked one of the most respectable and important studios in film history. There is absolutely no love for cinema, nor for the audience here. It is all about the survival of a telecom mammoth, one that is currently bearing an astronomical debt of more than $150 billion. Therefore, even though Dune is about cinema and audiences, AT&T is about its own survival on Wall Street. With HBO Max launch a failure thus far, AT&T decided to sacrifice Warner Bros.' entire 2021 slate in a desperate attempt to grab the audience's attention. Warner Bros.' sudden reversal from being a legacy home for filmmakers to the new era of complete disregard draws a clear line for me. Filmmaking is a collaboration, reliant on the mutual trust of teamwork, and Warner Bros. Has declared they are no longer on the same team. Streaming services are a positive and powerful addition to the movie and TV ecosystems, but I want the audience to understand that streaming alone can't sustain the film industry as we knew it before the bear bug. Streaming can produce great content, but not movies of Dune's scope and scale. Warner Brothers' decision means Dune won't have the chance to perform financially in order to be viable, and piracy will ultimately triumph. Warner Bros. Might just have killed the Dune franchise. This is one for the fans. AT&T's John Stankey said that the streaming horse has left the barn. In truth, the horse has left the barn for the slaughterhouse. Public safety comes first. Nobody argues with that, which is why when it became apparent the winter would bring a second wave of the situation, I understood and supported the decision to delay Dune's opening by almost a year. The plan was that Dune would open in theaters in October 2021, when vaccinations will be advanced and hopefully the situation behind us. Science tells us that everything should be back to a new normal next fall. Dune is by far the best movie I've ever made. My team and I devoted more than 3 years of our lives to make it a unique big screen experience. Our movie's image and sound were meticulously designed to be seen in theaters. I'm speaking on my own behalf, though I stand in solidarity with the 16 other filmmakers who now face the same fate. Please know I am with you and that together we are strong. The artists are the ones who create movies and series. I strongly believe in the future of cinema will be on the big screen, no matter what any Wall Street dilettante says. Since the dawn of time, humans have deeply needed communal storytelling experiences. Cinema on the big screen is more than a business. It is an art form that brings people together, celebrating humanity, enhancing our empathy for one another. It's one of the very last artistic in-person collective experiences we share as human beings. Once the situation is over, theaters will be filled again with film lovers. That is my strong belief. Not because the movie industry needs it, but because we humans need cinema as a collective experience. So, just as I have both a fiduciary and creative responsibility to fulfill as the filmmaker, I call on AT&T to act swiftly with the same responsibility, respect, and regard to protect this vital cultural medium. Economic impact to stakeholders is only one aspect of corporate social responsibility. Finding ways to enhance culture is another. The movie-going experience is like no other. In those darkened theaters, capture our history, educate us, fuel our imagination, and lift and inspire our collective spirit. It is our legacy. Long live theatrical cinema. Wow, a lot to pick out there. A lot of people not happy with this deal. And I've been seeing a lot of videos that are calling this like the death of cinema or the last gasp of cinema with this announcement that AT&T or Warner Brothers are going to put their next year's whole slate of movies on HBO Max, and to compete in this huge streaming war that's just like turning into a bloodbath. Right now, you got two big players: you got Netflix and Disney Plus, and I think Disney Plus has been doing very, very well, from what I understand, and so is Netflix. And then you got kind of Amazon Prime in there. Now, I don't know where that ranks up, but how much of an impact having the movies both on streaming services and in the theater at the same time, how much will that impact the bottom line of the films? Now, I honestly don't know how they generate revenue on a streaming service because there's no commercial ads or anything like that. I don't know like how they get paid per download or anything like that, or how that even works. I have no idea. But there's people like me. Even if I had the choice, okay, I can go Saturday night and I can watch Dune in the theater or watch it at home on my big screen. I'm going to pick the theater no matter what, because that's the venue I want to see it in. It was, as the director said in the interview, that's why they made it specifically for theaters. And it's kind of interesting that he just went up against AT&T, and there's some things that I kind of find, I have to say, I find alarming in this article here, when he talks about how Warner Brothers has chosen a side. It almost sounds like a breakup. So it feels like this is it. It almost feels like, for me, this is it for Dune. Like, we're going to get half of the movie, and that's it. We're not going to ever get the other half. We're only ever going to get half the story. And from then on, it's going to be, well, what if we had gotten the second part or anything? Because I haven't heard anything about the Sisterhood of Dune, where that's at. There's been no casting news, nothing. The last time there was any news on that was the writing team that I can remember. I think that's the last time I covered anything about it. It's been a long time since any news came up. So this whole decision could torpedo that as well. Or, I watched Secrets of Dune video, and he said it's possible that HBO Max could go ahead and do the Sisterhood series without Denis Villeneuve, because Denis Villeneuve was supposed to direct the first episode of that. So it sounds like this partnership is being really strained here between Warner Brothers and Denis Villeneuve and the other filmmakers as well. But now, will they go back? I mean, as far as him calling on AT&T to have like a cultural responsibility or social responsibility, I think they're not going to care. AT&T, the corporate heads, all they care about is the bottom line. All they care about is money, and they're just everyone wants in on the streaming service. Like, everyone is, Disney threw everything in on Disney Plus. Like, they and it's been paying off, but they went all in. And a lot of other companies want to do it. Now, not every one of these ones, they're not all going to be a success. But Disney, they got like a lot of properties they can bring to their streaming service, where HBO Max has all the DC stuff, they can bring that and their movies, but that's always been behind the MCU and stuff like that as far as popularity and getting people in to see their movies in the theater. So I mean, I understand where he's coming from. Like, creatively, you want your movie to come out with best foot forward, and like streaming services almost feels like straight to video. For me, that's maybe how it feels for some people. Like, I'm not going to take this as seriously because they dumped it on a streaming service. Just like, I talked about this in the last video I did on this about, you'd have a good movie like Starship Troopers. Never got like a theatrical sequel, but I got a bunch of these straight to video ones that were garbage. So I don't know if people kind of link the two in their mind. And I don't know how many views it would take to, they say if streaming services are good, but they can't produce the same, like that big theatric movies like Dune. But it wasn't too long ago, before this whole situation started, people were talking about like cinema, where movie theaters were in decline and movies were in decline because they were losing money over time, because the budgets of movies are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the paychecks that you have to pay actors as they become more and more popular, it's just getting more and more bigger, to the point where at some point it's going to be so expensive to create a film, it's just not it'll like implode on itself. You'll price yourself at the market, because then you have to jack up ticket prices, and then people are gonna stop going to movie theaters just because it's gonna become too expensive. And there was a lot of that talk before this whole situation. Like there was always been talk like movie theaters in trouble, and the future of movies have been in trouble. Now this is like, no one really talks about that now. It's all about what the impact on movie theaters with this current situation we got going on. So I don't know, I never had, I'll be honest, and I've said this in other videos, I've never had like rock solid faith that we would get a second Dune movie, but I felt there was a good chance if everything lined up right. But just everything that's been happening with this whole situation, Dune getting delayed, now this deal with HBO Max, and now knowing that not everyone's on the same page with this deal, and the Legendary loss might be filing a lawsuit against Warner Bros. The filmmaker speaking out, now Denis Villeneuve speaking out. Basically, it's almost like a breakup letter. Like, is he even going to do part 2 now? Like, so, I don't know. There's a lot to be concerned about with this. And I don't know what the answer is. Like, this is why I wish they had filmed these movies back to back. And because they'd be probably filming part 2 right now, or getting very close to filming part 2. Just because this is like, it's cool to have a Dune movie this long, but breaking it up into 2 parts, that's kind of like an Achilles heel. Because, look, the only reason I care if this movie does well, and I've said this before, is because I want the whole story. Like, Blade Runner 2049, I love that movie. I don't care that it didn't do well in the theater. Like, I know some people care about that. Like, they kind of throw those numbers around, like almost like in a pissing match against other fans. Well, especially with the Star Wars movies, like that's like a sign of quality. Well, The Last Jedi made all this money. Okay, well, who cares? The movie's not any good. That doesn't always make for a good movie, financial success. Which Blade Runner 2049, and to me, I don't care as long as I get a good movie that I enjoy. Obviously, I don't want the movie to fail, but if the movie doesn't make huge bank, but I still get the entertainment I want out of it, then I'm cool with it. As far as like spin-off series and the Sisterhood series and all that kind of stuff, if all that comes out afterwards, I mean, all that's gravy. And I honestly think that the go-ahead I think they're waiting on the green light with this Dune TV series. I think they're going to see how the film does. If the film underperforms or bombs, I don't think we're going to get that Sisterhood TV show, to be honest. I honestly don't. But now, another interesting thing that was brought to my attention in the comment section of last time I talked about this, my last video. This was brought to my attention by user To786. So they've been a long time subscriber to my channel, and they comment quite a bit, and they made me aware of something that they seen concerning this Legendary lawsuit over on the channel of Robert Meyer Burnett. Now, I follow his channel. I haven't really been following it closely lately, but I do watch some of his videos, but I thought it was kind of interesting. A little update. A credible source has revealed interesting information regarding the Legendary Warner Bros. Situation. Basically, Legendary's response is baseless. Warner Bros. Has the full distribution rights to the Dune movie. They would only need permission from Legendary in regards to changing the release date. This is the reason why Warner Bros. Did not communicate their 2021 slate with Legendary. Their 2/3 decade-old partner, Warner Bros., wanted to move Tenet to the Christmas season, but Legendary refused to move Dune. Christopher Nolan had a contract where his film must not air within 6 weeks of another Warner Bros. Film. This eventually forced Warner Bros. To release Tenet earlier than they wanted, and this resulted in a domestic underperformance for this reason. Warner Bros. Outright decided to release their entire 2021 slate on HBO Max without telling their lifelong partner. Sincerely hope that Legendary agrees for an earlier release date. Currently, the Dune hype is alive, and HBO Max will allow people to easily watch the movie no matter where they are. Overseas, it'll probably be on theaters, where Tenet performed reasonably. It will also encourage people who would not have watched Dune in the first place to end up actually watching it. Otherwise, if Legendary refuses to budge, the hype would have definitely died out by late next year, and its success will be in doubt. Here's hoping Legendary agrees to release Dune as early as possible. It's the best window of opportunity they have. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know how much stock to put in that statement, but thanks for the viewer of my channel who posted that in the comments section. So now it's kind of like a debate. Is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? I mean, there is a point there. A lot of people who probably wouldn't go out to the theater to see Dune might actually watch it on a streaming service on HBO Max. Now, the strange thing about HBO Max, this is only in the United States. Everywhere else, I don't even think we can get HBO Max yet in Canada. I don't know if we will by the time all this comes out. But the other concern is piracy. This movie might get pirated once it's out there online. People can pirate it, but movies always get pirated. It seemed like even before there were streaming services, pirating was a huge problem anyway. So I don't know how much that's gonna like impact it. Like why would anyone bother getting a pirated copy when you can watch it for free anyway for the first 31 days? So I don't know like how much stock to put in that whole claim that piracy is going to hurt it. But I don't know, maybe a compromise would be in order. Maybe shifting the, having the movie be out in theaters for at least a couple months first, and then having the movie come out on HBO Max, I would think would be a better idea. By then, the first couple of months is where it's going to pull in its biggest haul, and then it's going to peter out after that. So then you can get like a second audience going if you wait a couple months, then put it on HBO Max afterwards. Then all the people who didn't go to the theater or normally would maybe just skip out on this movie, seeing it in theaters, would watch it on HBO Max. Who knows? I don't know. But this situation is very interesting, and I don't know, everything's shaky with all this. It just seems like the whole foundation is starting to collapse here, and we might not get that second Dune film, and that's my biggest concern. As for Legendary if Legendary tries to sue Warner Bros. Or there's any kind of court case, it sounds like if this source is reliable, that they don't have any grounds to stand on, but who knows? I don't know if they try. That could definitely jeopardize at the very least, it would put the production on hold. Probably any projects they have with Warner Brothers on hold while they're fighting this out in court. So hopefully behind the scenes, everyone's kind of negotiating with each other and they can kind of get over this squabble and move on. And I don't know, maybe there's a hope. Here's my hope. With everything going on, with this whole situation, the whole HBO Max thing, what if, say the first Dune movie comes out and it doesn't do well? Is it a possibility that they could use everything going on as an excuse as to, well, this is why it underperformed, because of the abnormal circumstances we're in right now. So let's give it another go and let's greenlight the second part anyway. Because by the time part 2 comes out, then that'll be, everything will definitely be back to normal. So maybe that's a possibility. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here, but just trying to hope for the best. So that's everything I got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I will see you at the next one. I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you all in helping this channel grow. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded.